First contact under fire. The UES Hyperion's hull creaked under the strain of deceleration as it dropped out of hyperspace, its reinforced steel frame handling pressures that would tear lesser ships apart. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her stocky frame, typical of Earth-born humans, barely swaying as the ship's artificial gravity compensated for the transition. Contact, multiple signatures. Lieutenant Rodriguez called from his sensor station, his dark eyes widening. Captain, we've got hundreds of ships ahead, 2 distinct configurations, and they're engaged in combat. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a breathtaking and terrifying sight. Dozens of crystalline vessels, their surfaces refracting starlight like diamonds, were under attack from what appeared to be organic ships. Massive, whale-like constructs that moved with impossible grace for their size. The crystalline ships are broadcasting distress signals. Communications Officer Park reported, her fingers dancing across her haptic interface. They're not just military vessels. They're carrying refugees. Millions of them. Chen's jaw tightened. Humanity had only been in interstellar space for 30 years. Their robust physiology and natural adaptations to Earth's harsh conditions, making them surprisingly adept at space travel. But this was their first contact with intelligent alien life, and it was happening in the middle of a war zone. Life signs, she asked, already moving toward her command chair. The crystalline ships are crewed by what appear to be energy-based life forms, Science Officer Hassan reported. The attacking vessels, they're showing no individual life signs. They appear to be some kind of biological hive construct. As they watched, one of the crystal ships shattered under concentrated fire, its fragments spinning into space. No bodies were visible, but the energy readings from the debris told a clear story of lives lost. Battle stations, Chen ordered, her voice calm but firm. All hands to combat positions. Launch our fighter screen and power up main weapons. We may be about to make history, but we're not going to watch a massacre while we do it. The Hyperion's crew moved with practiced efficiency, their bodies, evolved under Earth's punishing gravity, handling the stress of rapid acceleration with ease. The ship's weapon systems, designed to function under the most extreme conditions, hummed to life. The crystalline ships are hailing us, Park announced. They're begging for help. Chen stood, her muscular frame casting a shadow in the red battle lighting. Open a channel to all ships. Let's introduce ourselves. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Ship Hyperion to all vessels. To the Crystalline Fleet, we are responding to your distress call. To the attacking forces, cease your assault immediately, or we will be forced to intervene. The response was immediate. One of the whale-like ships turned and launched what appeared to be a biological missile toward the Hyperion. It splattered harmlessly against their shields, designed to withstand pressures that would crush most spacecraft. Well, Chen said with a grim smile, I guess that answers the question of their intentions. Weapons free. Show them why you don't pick a fight with descendants of Earth's apex predators. The Hyperion's main guns opened up, plasma bolts designed to function in Earth's dense atmosphere cutting through space. The first shots caught the nearest attacker completely by surprise, their biological armor, evidently evolved to deal with energy weapons, providing no defense against the brute force of human engineering. Their weapons aren't penetrating our shields, Hassan reported with surprise. They're calibrated for those crystal ships. They never expected to encounter something built to Earth specifications. Chen nodded. What had often been seen as humanity's greatest weakness, their evolution on a high-gravity death world that necessitated extremely durable technology, had suddenly become their greatest strength. All fighters, engage at will, she ordered. Defensive pattern delta around the refugee ships. Let's show the galaxy that humanity's first contact won't be our last. The battle that followed would be recorded in both human and alien histories as the moment everything changed. Human fighters, piloted by crews who had evolved to handle high-G maneuvers that would kill most species, danced through space with lethal grace. The Hyperion's weapons, built to function in conditions that would destroy most technology, carved through the enemy fleet with devastating efficiency. Within an hour, the attacking forces had retreated, leaving behind a graveyard of their own ships and not a single additional civilian casualty. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Chen found herself facing a new challenge, official first contact with a grateful alien species. "Captain," Park called out, her voice filled with wonder. "The crystal ships are transmitting again. They're asking what kind of miracle world could produce beings capable of such combat prowess." Chen looked around at her crew, all of them built sturdy and strong by Earth's higher gravity, all of them naturally adapted to handle stress and survive harsh conditions. She thought about how humanity had evolved as persistence hunters, developing endurance and determination that had served them well in space. "Tell them," she said with a slight smile, "we come from a place they might call a death world, and we would be honored to help them find sanctuary." The Galactic Revelation. The crystalline conference chamber aboard the luminary flagship cast rainbow refractions across Captain Chen's face as she stood before the alien council. The beings before her were unlike anything humanity had imagined in their centuries of speculation about alien life. Their forms were nearly pure energy, contained within crystalline shells that pulsed with shifting colors. "You mean to tell us?" First Speaker Kilara's translated voice echoed through the chamber, her crystalline form flickering with patterns of blue and gold, "that your species evolved on a world that would kill most sentient beings within minutes." Chen nodded, pulling up the holographic display of Earth. Average gravity 9.8 meters per second squared. Atmospheric pressure 100 and 1.325 kilopascals. Temperature swings of over 100 degrees Celsius between regions. Regular tectonic activity, extreme weather patterns, and thousands of predatory species. She paused, noting the waves of color showing the alien's shock. "We call it home." The council chamber erupted in a symphony of light patterns as the luminary discussed this revelation among themselves. Chen waited patiently, remembering her diplomatic briefing about their consensus-based decision-making. Finally, Kilara spoke again. "And your ships, your weapons, they're all built to withstand these conditions." "They have to be," Lieutenant Rodriguez answered from his position beside Chen. "Even our civilian vessels need to handle atmospheric re-entry through Earth's dense atmosphere. Military ships like the Hyperion are built several orders of magnitude tougher." The display shifted to show footage from the recent battle. The Hyperion's hull barely registered damage from attacks that had shattered luminary ships. Human fighters pulled maneuvers that would have killed most species. Their pilots' bodies evolved to handle extreme G-forces. "The Devourers," Kilara said, referring to the organic ships that had attacked them. "They emerged from the galactic core 2 cycles ago. They seek out civilizations, consume their resources, and move on. We thought ourselves advanced. But our weapons." Her form dimmed slightly. "We had never needed to develop true weapons before." Chen stepped forward, her movement carefully measured in the lower gravity the luminary preferred. "Then perhaps this meeting was fated. You have technology we've never dreamed of. Your FTL drives are centuries ahead of ours. Your energy manipulation is incredible. But we have something you need too. The ability to fight," another council member pulsed darkly. "The ability to protect," Chen corrected. "Humans don't love violence. Earth taught us to be strong because we had to be. We learned to fight so we could defend those who couldn't defend themselves." The chamber fell silent as the luminary processed this. Their colors shifted through spectrums Chen was beginning to recognize as deep thought. Finally, Kilara approached, her crystalline form hovering at eye level with the human captain. "Show us," she said simply. The next few weeks transformed both species' understanding of warfare and peace. Human engineers marveled at luminary technology. Their tools and methods evolved to handle Earth's harsh conditions, finding new applications in alien systems. Luminary scientists studied human biology with growing amazement, discovering how Earth's challenges had forged a species uniquely suited to survive in space. Your cellular structure, senior researcher Vax explained to Dr. Hassan in the Hyperion's lab, his form pulsing with excitement. It's reinforced in ways we've never seen. Your bones would survive pressures that would shatter our containment crystals. Your muscles can operate in gravity conditions that would crush most species. Hassan nodded, reviewing the comparative scans. Earth's gravity made us strong. But it's more than that. We evolved as pursuit predators, able to keep going long after other species would tire. In space, that translates to incredible endurance in crisis situations. The luminary's color shifted to what Hassan had learned was their equivalent of a thoughtful frown. Yet despite this natural predatory advantage, you choose to use it defensively. Why? Because Earth taught us something else too, Hassan replied, pulling up historical images. It taught us that the strong must protect the weak. That survival isn't just about being tough. It's about helping others survive too. Their conversation was interrupted by the station's alert system. Multiple Devourer signatures detected. All ships to battle stations. This time, the response was different. Luminary ships moved in perfect formation, their crystalline hulls now reinforced with human-designed armor. Human fighters launched, their maneuverability enhanced by luminary energy fields. It wasn't just two species fighting side by side. It was a true synthesis of their strengths. Fascinating, Vax commented as they watched the battle unfold from the lab's viewport. Your weapons seem primitive compared to ours, yet they're devastatingly effective against the Devourers. Hassan smiled, watching the human fighter squadron execute a perfect attack run, their projectile weapons ripping through the organic ship's defenses. Sometimes the simple solutions are the best. The Devourers evolved to handle energy weapons like yours. They never expected to face something as basic as kinetic impact. As the battle ended in another victory, Hassan noticed Vax's colors had shifted to a new pattern he hadn't seen before. What does that combination mean? He asked. Hope, Vax replied simply. For the first time since the Devourers appeared, we have hope. Perhaps this is why our species met, not just so you could teach us to fight, but so we could remind you why fighting matters. Outside, human and luminary ships patrolled together, their different designs a stark contrast, but their purpose unified. The galaxy was changing, and together, they would ensure it changed for the better. Alliance of necessity. The combat simulation chamber aboard the UES Hyperion hummed with energy as Lieutenant Rodriguez faced his newest challenge, teaching luminary warriors how to fight. The crystalline beings hovered before him, their forms pulsing with determination, but also uncertainty. Again, Rodriguez commanded, watching as the luminary strike team attempted to coordinate with their human counterparts. Remember, you don't need to match our movements. Use your natural abilities. The holographic Devourers appeared, their massive forms charging through the simulated space. The human Marines moved with practiced efficiency, taking defensive positions, but the luminary still hesitated. We cannot match your physical resilience. Strike Leader Mira's translated voice carried notes of frustration, her crystalline form flickering with doubt. Then don't try, Rodriguez replied, stepping into the simulation. You can do things we can't. Show me how you normally work together. The luminary team shifted, their forms linking in patterns of light that Rodriguez had learned indicated their natural coordination. Suddenly, he understood. That's it. You're trying to fight like humans when you should be fighting like luminary. Computer, reset simulation. This time, when the Devourers appeared, something changed. The human Marines provided the heavy firepower, while the luminary moved in perfect geometric formations around them, their energy fields linking to create protective barriers and amplify the humans' weapons. Now that, Captain Chen said from the observation deck, is what I call adaptation. Beside her, First Speaker Kilara's form pulsed with approval. Your lieutenant sees what we couldn't, that our weakness could become our strength. The success in the simulation chamber was quickly put to the test. Long-range sensors detected a massive Deathworlder fleet approaching a populated luminary system. This would be the first true test of their combined forces. The UES Hyperion led a fleet of 20 human warships and 50 luminary vessels toward the conflict zone. In the ship's tactical center, Chen studied the battle plans with her mixed human luminary command staff. The Devourers have never faced a coordinated defense, she explained, gesturing to the holographic display. They're used to overwhelming isolated targets. We're going to show them the meaning of unified resistance. The luminary tactical officers pulsed with colors that Chen had learned indicated aggressive agreement, a concept they'd only developed since meeting humans. The battle plan leveraged both species' strengths. Human ships would provide the offensive punch, while luminary vessels would create a complex network of defensive fields and targeting systems. They're approaching an attack formation, Rodriguez reported from his station as the enemy fleet dropped out of FTL. Multiple biosignatures. This is their biggest force yet. Chen squared her shoulders, feeling the familiar pre-battle tension. All ships, battle formations. Remember your training. We're not just fighting for ourselves today. We're fighting for both our peoples. The space around them erupted in chaos as the Devourers charged. But this time, something was different. Human warships moved with practiced precision, their weapons blazing, while luminary vessels flowed around them in complex patterns. When the Devourers fired their biological weapons, they met layered barriers of luminary energy fields. Look at that coordination, Hassan marveled from his science station. The luminary are actually predicting where our ships need protection and moving to reinforce automatically. He was right. The luminary's natural ability to work in perfect harmony was transforming what could have been a disorganized battle into a deadly dance. Human gunners found their targets acquiring locks faster than ever, their weapons guided by luminary sensing technology. The battle reached its climax when a massive Devourer command ship emerged from the heart of their fleet. It was easily twice the size of the Hyperion, its biological weapons already charging. All ships, converge on my position, Chen ordered. Luminary vessels, prepare for Pattern Omega. Pattern Omega was something they'd only tested in simulations, a complex maneuver requiring perfect timing between human and luminary ships. As the command ship fired, the luminary vessels moved in perfect synchronization, their energy fields combining to create a massive lens that focused and redirected the Devourer's own weapon back at it. The result was spectacular. The command ship, its defenses calibrated for attacking rather than receiving its own energy weapon, literally tore itself apart. The remaining Devourer ships, suddenly without central coordination, fell into disarray. All ships pressed the advantage, Chen commanded. Don't let them regroup. The route that followed would be studied by military historians for generations. The combined human luminary fleet moved like a single organism, each species complementing the other's strengths and covering their weaknesses. In the aftermath, as damage reports and victory confirmations flooded in, Chen found herself in the ship's observation lounge with Kilara. We lost ships today, the luminary leader noted, her form dim with mourning. Both human and luminary, yet I sense no regret from your crew. Chen watched as recovery vessels from both species worked together to rescue survivors and salvage damaged ships. Regret? No. Grief? Yes, but we know their sacrifice meant something. Today proved that our peoples are stronger together than apart. Kilara's form brightened slightly. When we first met your species, we feared your warrior nature would change us. And it has, but not into warriors. You've helped us become protectors. Outside, a human repair crew was helping restore power to a damaged luminary vessel, their heavy gravity-adapted bodies allowing them to work in conditions that would have exhausted most species. Meanwhile, luminary energy beings were helping seal hull breaches in human ships, their natural abilities perfect for emergency repairs. The Devourers thought they could divide and conquer the galaxy, Chen said. Instead, they've united it. And this is just the beginning. She was right. The battle had proved more than just the effectiveness of their military alliance. It had shown that humanity's strength and the luminaries' harmony could create something entirely new, a force capable of defending not just their own peoples, but any species threatened by the Devourers. Trial by fire. Admiral Helena Torres stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned UES Defender, the first warship built jointly by humans and Luminary. The vessel represented the best of both species. Human durability merged with Luminary energy manipulation technology. They would need every advantage it offered today. Multiple Devourer signatures detected, Lieutenant Park announced from her sensor station, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. There, Admiral, I'm reading over 300 enemy vessels. Torres studied the tactical display, where red dots representing Devourer ships filled the screen. This wasn't just another raid. It was an invasion force. Behind her, First Speaker Kilura's crystalline form pulsed with concern. They're heading for the Luminary core worlds, Kilura said, her translated voice carrying an edge Torres had never heard before. Millions of civilians. We cannot evacuate in time. Torres straightened, her Earth-bred muscles easily compensating for the ship's artificial gravity. Then we make our stand here. All ships, battle stations, execute Operation Aegis. The combined human Luminary defense fleet moved into position. Months of joint operations had forged them into something unprecedented, a force that merged human tenacity with Luminary precision. The Defender's bridge crew, a mix of both species, worked with practiced efficiency. Enemy fleet dropping out of FTL, Park reported. They're launching biological weapons. Luminary vessels, defensive pattern Sierra, Torres ordered. Human ships, prepare to execute breakthrough maneuver on my mark. The space between the fleets lit up with energy as the battle began. Luminary ships moved in perfect geometric formations, their energy fields combining to create multi-layered defensive screens. Human vessels, their hulls reinforced with crystalline technology, punched through gaps in the enemy formation. They've adapted to our previous tactics, Science Officer Hassan reported, his display showing new configurations in the Devourer bioships. Their armor's been modified to resist our kinetic weapons. Torres allowed herself a grim smile. Then it's a good thing we've adapted too. Deploy the resonance weapons. The Defender's main guns fired, launching projectiles that looked deceptively simple. But these weren't ordinary shells. They were products of human Luminary engineering. As they struck the Devourer ships, they released precisely tuned energy pulses that matched the frequency of the organic hulls, literally shaking them apart from the inside. Direct hits on multiple targets, Weapons Officer Rodriguez reported. Their new armor can't compensate for the resonance effect. But the Devourers hadn't survived this long by being predictable. A group of their largest ships suddenly changed formation, combining into a massive biological structure that dwarfed anything they'd encountered before. Energy spike, Hassan shouted. They're channeling power through their combined form. The resulting blast caught the Allied fleet by surprise, its raw power overwhelming even the Luminary energy shields. 3 human ships and 5 Luminary vessels vanished in the explosion. All ships, fall back and regroup, Torres ordered, fighting to keep the pain from her voice as damage reports flooded in. Kilura, can your ships replicate that energy channeling technique? The first speaker's form flickered with rapid calculations. Yes, but we would need time to establish the necessary resonance patterns. Time we don't have. You'll have it. Torres turned to her tactical display. All human ships, form up on the Defender. We're going to give them something else to think about. What followed would be remembered as one of the most daring maneuvers in the war. The human ships charged directly at the combined Devourer structure, their reinforced hulls absorbing punishment that would have destroyed any other vessels. They weren't trying to win. They were buying time. Behind them, the Luminary ships arranged themselves in a complex 3-dimensional pattern, their energy fields linking in ways they'd never attempted before. The Defender's hull creaked under the strain of multiple direct hits, but Torres held her ground. Luminary formation at 70% synchronization, Hassan reported. They need another 3 minutes. They'll have it, Torres replied, watching as another human ship sacrificed itself to draw enemy fire. Redirect all power to forward shields. We hold this line. The defender shuddered as multiple biological weapons struck home. Warning lights flashed across every console, but the Earth-built ship refused to break. Its crew, both human and luminary, worked through the chaos with determined precision. Luminary synchronization complete, Hassan announced. Energy buildup detected. All human ships, emergency withdrawal, Torres ordered. Let's see how the Devourers like a taste of their own medicine. The combined luminary formation released its energy in a single, perfectly coordinated burst. But unlike the raw power of the Devourer attack, this blast was scientifically precise. Its frequency matched exactly to disrupt the enemy's biological systems. The effect was devastating. The massive combined Devourer structure literally came apart at the molecular level, its component ships falling into disarray. The remaining human vessels, their weapons guided by luminary targeting systems, methodically eliminated the scattered enemies. Hours later, Torres stood in the Defender's memorial chamber with Kilara, looking at the list of ships and crews lost in the battle. The cost was high, Kilara observed, her form dim with mourning. It always is, Torres replied softly. But they gave their lives so others could live, human or luminary. That's what matters. The first speaker's form brightened slightly. You know, before we met humans, we had no concept of sacrifice in battle. We thought it was merely wasteful. Now we understand. It is not about the dying, but about what you die for. Torres nodded, watching through the chamber's window as recovery ships from both species worked to rescue survivors. And we've learned from you too. Humans have always been willing to sacrifice ourselves for others, but you've taught us how to do it more effectively, more precisely. Together, we're becoming something new, something better, Kilara agreed. The Devourers thought they could exploit our differences. Instead, those very differences have become our greatest strength. The battle had cost them dearly, but it had also proved something vital. The alliance between humans and luminary wasn't just about combining military might. It was about growing beyond what either species could be alone, about forging something new in the fires of adversity. Evolution of Two Worlds. Grand Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen, her hair now streaked with gray from 5 years of war, stood in the combined command center of Station Unity. The massive space station, built by humans and luminary working together, represented everything their alliance had achieved. Through its windows, she could see Earth on one side, and the transplanted luminary crystalline forests on the other. Two worlds, two species, one future. The Devourer's final fleet has been located, First Speaker Kilara announced, her crystalline form having evolved to interface directly with human technology. They gathered every remaining ship at their home system. Intelligence reports filled the holographic display, showing hundreds of bioships clustered around a massive organic structure that dwarfed anything they'd previously encountered. This was it, the Devourer's last stand. They're desperate, Chen observed, studying the tactical readouts. They've never faced a force they couldn't either overwhelm or outlast. We've changed the equation. The combined human luminary fleet had grown far beyond its humble beginnings. New ships incorporated the best of both species. Human durability merged seamlessly with luminary energy manipulation. Crews worked together with an efficiency that would have seemed impossible 5 years ago. The assault fleet is ready, reported Admiral Torres from her position aboard the flagship Harmony. The vessel represented the pinnacle of their combined engineering. A human-designed superstructure enhanced with luminary crystal technology, capable of channeling power in ways neither species could achieve alone. Chen looked around the command center at the faces of both species, humans standing strong in their environment suits, luminary floating in their crystalline forms, all working together with practiced ease. Begin the operation. The largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history moved out. Human warships formed the vanguard, their earth-forged hulls now enhanced with crystalline armor. Luminary vessels wove between them in complex patterns, their energy fields linking to create defense systems of unprecedented power. As they approached the Devourer home system, Chen reflected on how far they'd come. What had started as a chance encounter between species had evolved into something remarkable. Humans had learned to temper their strength with precision, while the Luminary had discovered that their peaceful nature didn't preclude them from being protectors. Enemy fleet moving to engage, Torres reported. They've adapted their biological weapons again, energy signatures we haven't seen before. Then it's time to show them our final evolution, Chen replied. Execute Protocol Unity. What followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human and Luminary ships moved in perfect synchronization, their movements choreographed with both human intuition and Luminary precision. When the Devourers launched their new weapons, they found themselves facing defenses that adapted in real time, human durability enhanced by Luminary energy manipulation. Their weapons are based on consuming energy, Science Officer Hassan observed from his station. They've never faced anything like our combined systems. He was right. The Devourer weapons, designed to feed off energy attacks, found themselves unable to process the unique combination of physical and energy-based defenses. Their biological ships, evolved to resist either kinetic or energy attacks, couldn't adapt fast enough to handle both simultaneously. The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was never really in doubt. The combined fleet pressed forward methodically. Human determination merged with Luminary precision. When the Devourers attempted to combine their ships into one massive organism, they found themselves facing an equally coordinated response. Now we show them true unity, Chen commanded. All ships, execute final approach. The human and Luminary ships moved into a formation that would have been impossible years ago. Human vessels provided the physical framework, while Luminary ships created an intricate energy matrix around them. The result was something entirely new, a gestalt entity that was neither human nor Luminary, but a true synthesis of both. The combined fleet's final attack was both beautiful and devastating. Human weapons, guided by Luminary precision, struck with pinpoint accuracy. Luminary energy fields, stabilized by human technology, contained and redirected the Devourers' own power against them. It wasn't just a victory. It was a demonstration of how far both species had come. In the aftermath, as recovery ships began the process of securing the system, Chen found herself in her private office with Kilara. They had served together since that first battle, watching their alliance grow from necessity into something far more profound. "Do you remember," Kilara asked, her form pulsing with reflective colors, "when you first told us you came from the Death World?" Chen smiled, looking out at the combined fleet. "It seems like a lifetime ago. We were so different then." And yet, Kilara's form brightened. "Those differences saved us all. Your species' evolution on a harsh world gave you the strength we needed. Our development in a peaceful realm gave us the perspective to use that strength wisely." "We've both evolved," Chen agreed. "Humans have learned there's more to strength than just endurance. Your people have discovered that being peaceful doesn't mean being helpless." Through the window, they could see new ships under construction. Vessels that were neither human nor Luminary in design, but something entirely new. Teams from both species worked together seamlessly, their different abilities complementing each other perfectly. "The Devourers thought diversity was weakness," Kilara observed. "They believed that consuming other species made them stronger. But we proved that true strength comes from growing together, from combining our differences into something greater than ourselves." Chen nodded, watching as a training squadron of mixed human and Luminary pilots performed maneuvers that would have been impossible for either species alone. "That's the real victory here. Not just defeating the Devourers, but proving there's a better way. Together, we're not just surviving, we're thriving." The galaxy was changing. Other species, inspired by the Human Luminary Alliance, were reaching out to each other. The age of isolation was ending, replaced by an era of cooperation and mutual growth. And it had all started with a chance encounter between a species from a death world and one that had never known conflict. "So," Kilara asked, her form showing colors of curiosity, "what do we do next?" Chen smiled, looking out at the endless expanse of space. "We explore. We grow. We show the galaxy that the strongest force isn't combat power or advanced technology. It's different species working together, making each other better. After all, that's what humanity has always dreamed of finding among the stars." Beyond the station, the combined fleet patrolled peacefully, a living symbol of how difference could become strength, how necessity could forge unity, and how two vastly different species could build a future greater than either could have imagined alone.